I didn't think I needed help. I was angry, I was hurt. I'd already experienced the tragedy of losing my mother within a blink of an eye. And now I'm losing my only child within a blink of an eye. I didn't want to live anymore. I did not care about life anymore. And like my sister on this side said, everybody thinks you're okay because you're still out there working. You're still out there with, as a political consultant, advising and doing things. But you're really, you're pushing yourself because you're hiding the hurt. You're hiding the pain. But thank God, my state attorney actually noticed the pain more than anyone else. And she sent law enforcement to pick me up. I was forced into the program. Florida Parents of Murdered Children was actually born out of that program that I was in. The second day I was in, I had never looked at TV again once I lost my son. I could not bear to hear a bullet. I couldn't bear to see someone getting shot. I couldn't bear, I was angry. And no one was ever able to say anything to me because I felt no one understood. Dr. Shirley Brown, a person in this room that have never lost her child, has been the only person in this world that I've heard speak that really understood our hurt and our pain. And I think that's because she took a lot of time to listen to us. She's listened to parents. She's listened to families. She had relationships with them. Even after losing my son, people was proud that I went and got legislation passed in Tallahassee. But I was only able to do that because I got in a room full of parents and I just listened to them. So when I went to legislate things, I didn't legislate things that affected my case. I was legislating things that was affecting most of their cases. And we know what that is in Florida, witnesses. And what I found that mothers will do a lot of times is mothers will go out and investigate their own case to try to find out and learn who killed their child. And I have a mother that almost lost her life in the midst of trying to do that. So I had to begin, because we all know when it comes to black on black crime, we don't have support. We have an array of media that's there when it happened. We have all that support then. We even have family support that we haven't seen in years during the time of burial. But once we bury our loved one, everybody goes back into their prospective places. We lay with that pain. We wake up with that pain. And a lot of times we don't want to accept the help that's given to us. It was forced on me. I wouldn't have ever went and got help, and I probably would have been dead today or in jail today. Because we don't like to talk about this, but when you go through things like that, there's a lot of anger in your mind. You don't know what we're thinking. You don't know what we're feeling. And that's why sometimes we shock when we hear someone just took their life. We shock when we hear our director put a gun to his head. We don't know what all he was dealing with. We don't know the hurt. We don't know the pain that he was going through. And a lot of times the people around us are not paying attention to those things. It don't matter. Or you're crazy. Or you need to get yourself together. You can't get yourself together. You need help in order to get yourself together. So I would say to anyone in this room, I'm sure everybody knows someone that have gone through a tragedy. And tragedies is not just losing a child. People have been molested and they won't even talk about it. People go through domestic violence and they won't even talk about it. There's a lot of people in pain. And before you begin to say, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I would have done that, take time today and listen to them. Hear them. It's so important. Don't judge them, because you never know exactly what they're going through. You never know. And I'm going to allow you to ask me the questions you want to ask.
You said something so powerful. I just got it the other day. As much grief I have dealt with, there was a speaker, and he said, you know, grief doesn't end at the grave. He's not for the person's grief. Grief comes in so many different ways. So I'm going to start with questioning, and as we go down, I'll ask each one of you questions. If I would have a question for you, it would be, at what point did you realize that you were in trouble in your grief? What happened? What sparked it? I'm in trouble.
I realized that I was in trouble when I wanted to take the life of the person that took my child's life. I realized, but I didn't care. I didn't care. So I got to go back to what the gentleman said earlier. You can't surround yourself with people that you call friends. They don't know. They don't understand. You have to surround yourself with people that value you. And because I'm surrounded by people that value me, they force that upon me. So the same people I work with, law enforcement, the state attorney, my family, they got together, and my pastor, and they went in, they had the power to get the judge to sign and put me into that program. And even in going into that program, I still didn't realize I was the problem. To me, they was the problem. They was the problem because they didn't understand me. And that's what we feel. And what happens is the people that's closest to you is the people that suffers the most.
Yes. I wanted to say something about that. As much help as people want to give you, if you don't want to take the help. I hear her say they forced her into the place, but after the force, did she not have to apply some work? She still had to do the work. I don't want anybody to be fooled or misunderstand. It's unfortunate when I say this, but the grief, you got to work it. Because if you don't work it, it's going to work you. And the people that are saved, they love you, and this is a statement, I don't know if you heard it, you probably did, a few things scripturally, because you know, to be absent from the body, to be present with the Lord, I hear you. They're in a better place, I hear you. I put on Facebook the other day, I understand what you're saying, that's real deep, but the truth is, it's not a better place for me. So sometimes, we are saying things, for my grandma said that at the funeral, I want us to be a little bit more informed. I can't bring her son back, and I will never say I understood that, and vice versa for her. But what I could say is that, how are you today? Do you want me in your presence? Don't apply yourself. So as much as she was forced, I will say to her, she was ready for that place to take the next step. I pick people up every day. I Baker Act people every day. They use drugs right in my presence, right in the lobby, they shoot them. But they also die at the bus stop because they have to make the choice. So I'm so glad you made the choice. But what do you say to people? Who do they reach out to when they can't even make a choice?
When it comes down to domestic violence, when it comes down, on social media, you have that messenger. And I get messages from people all day, every day, with issues. Whether it's domestic violence, whether it's rape, in some, they've never had a relationship with their parents. That become an issue in their adult life. And a lot of this brings on mental health. I believe in services. I believe in counseling. I believe in therapy. I work close with every police advocate in this county so that I can be able to get these families the assistance that they need. Now, prior to starting Florida Parents to Murder Children, a lot of this wasn't happening for our families. I remember when I first brought parents together, and I had parents that had lost their kids 15 and 20 years ago, but they had never even heard from a detective. I feel that we do have a voice now. We're not where we should be, but we're not where we was at one point. But it's amazing that you talked about the Bible verses and the cliches. Because I have a page, Florida Parents and Murdered Children. Everybody on that page, they lost their child. That used to be open to the public. The reason I closed it from the public, I found my parents and people. I grew up in the church, so I understand the Bible verses and the cliches. But everybody come from a different walk of life. Amen. And everybody don't have the same belief that you may have. Right. And that's not what they're looking to hear at that time. So it's so important that I close that page, because there was major arguments going back and forth. Now that that page is closed, it's like, I guess a parent hearing it from a parent, they relate with it a little bit more.